We have to teach our kids these lessons because we're setting them up for failure in the future. I remember with me never know money work. My first paycheck, me go, me say, "Whoo, I have this nice bank job." My first paycheck. It was, what much was it at the time? Holy for money was over $100,000 a month. I was getting that back in 2005. That was a whole heap of money.
I can't tell you what mine
Fresh out
was.
of university, I'm gonna get this money.
Yeah.
Never have no money.
That's
Me
a
been a
lot of
struggle
money.
all my life. Where did Keisha go? Keisha
To the
went down to
store,
Shopping.
Tree, go buy clothes. That's
clothes.
where Keisha went, because Keisha don't understand money. And I say this because I have lived it. When you don't understand how money works, you're setting yourself up for
Oh,
failure.
yep.
You're setting yourself up to remain poor because you're going to get this money, you don't know how to use it, and then you waste it. The earlier, if I didn't understand from then how money worked, look here, I would have about 45 house right now. And I would just be walking around, turning the keys, because from there, that 100,000 would have paid down on a house.
Keisha, you
That's
did I
Yep.
get enough money them time, the man.
yeah,
Exactly.
that brings back, I said, one thing I teach, you need to have a high value skill set so you get paid only for
No,
money.
no, no,
Never in
no,
a
no,
low
no.
paying job
Keisha,
ever, because I
Keisha,
figured that part out.
Keisha, I am in a high value earning set, but my colleagues and myself who celebrated 20 years just a couple months ago remembered that first day in July, the end of July, when we got our first paycheck as doctors. It never reached $100,000.
Well, no. I don't know
Wait, no, wait,
finance
no.
Well,
And then most of
I
us had, hold on, I'm going to tell you a true story. One of my colleagues, when it came to December, because we started paying back students loan in January, so we would have worked for 5 to 6 months now, and you start getting little duties and the money start look a little better. Students loan sent him his notice, and the notice for students loan, the amount he had to pay back was more than his salary that he worked for the month. And Brethren looked down and said, "Me can't afford to broke. This him said this is the worst, and you because you work hard and you do 15 duties for the
feel
month."
it team. Yeah.
Yeah, but those are the things that a lot of people go through, and they believe that because we are in good professions that we start off making a lot of money. You are a good potential earner. But when you have to go through the ropes, you have to train your kids that yes, you want to go into this, but how are you going to manage until you get to that point? What are you going to do with the little bit? And we all had to learn how to manage that little bit to pay students loan, whether it meant renegotiating your loan, whether it meant going back. So you have to teach the kids the skills because most of us didn't get here like this. We had to
but
learn.
there are two things there, though, Alona. And for me, one of the critical things is living within your means. Live within your means until you can
That's
get
hard
to
knowing
that
a
next
mark.
step
That's
that you
hard knowing,
want.
especially with the gram.
Man,
Everybody want to show them care.
And
Everybody want to show
I
them
see it.
handbag. Yeah, it's
I
hard.
man,
see it, I recognize it, and I will say this one thing I live by: I live within my means. I remember the first time somebody had the conversation with me about, so Mark, why you don't buy a house yet? I'm gonna say I can't afford it. Because them days, again, I knew nothing about money. I didn't grow up in an environment where this was a conversation. And the person sat me down, went through and said, all right, if you're buying a house for X amount, you only need this 10%. And when they did the math, I'm like, but I have this money sitting in my account. I was so fearful of money that every single bonus I got every December in that job at the time that I was paying bonus, I saved it. I didn't touch it. There was no braffing. There was no going out.
Good
My
for
first car
you.
was a 1998 Civic that I bought cash because I decided I'm not going to no bank to take out any loan to owe nobody to look fancy in an Impreza like all my friends. I decided I wasn't going to do it. I was able to, well, know multiple real estate properties, and the only loan I have out there is a mortgage because I learned how to live within my means and allowed everything else to grow around me. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's, gonna be,
Yeah.
let's say, a two-step process for everyone, but not because the gram is doing something mean it's real. A lot of people are broke on the gram. That BMW that you see is owned by the bank,
the
not
bank.
by the individual. They're
Yeah,
not
don't you
being
know
able to
it?
make those payments. But we'll digress a little bit, but I'm coming to the point of we have to learn to live within our means and identify what are the goals that we truly have. And when we start to bank the money to be able to get to the next step, go to that next step and live within that means for a while. Enjoy it for a while before you move to the other step. No, you talk about refinancing loans just now. I don't know. Those conversations aren't had. Most of us don't know that we can go to a bank and say, hey, I know I took this loan, this is the value, this is the situation I'm in. Let me refinance, let me add some tenure to it, reduce the monthly payments. We need to get to the point where I think we are far more open about conversations, talk about what we pay for rent, talk about what we pay for mortgage, talk about what it is that it costs us to send somebody to school. Because until then, the younger generation can't learn if the older ones of us not talking about it. Who's going to teach them?
Well, you have to be in the right circle to talk about it. So last night, that's what we're talking about inside the academy. All right, interest rates falling, time to now go renegotiate the loan then. These circles don't really exist, and that's why I'm pushing the academy so much, because I know most people know them a talk about Shannon Sharp tape, them a talk about this happening over there, so them a talk
Right now, the conversation is Diddy.
and no money conversations are happening.
No, nope.
I would have stayed at the same cycle, broke from 99, broke in at the 2000s, broke in at the 2020, broke in at the 2024. Things have to change. It has to change.
And we also need to understand wealth and riches.
For that.
But
that's
right,
we also need to understand wealth and riches, because wealth doesn't mean that you have a 6-story house on the hillside or on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Wealth is you're able to cover your bills monthly and you're comfortable going into the next month. Whether you live in a board shack, a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, or 10-bedroom house, if your expenses are covered, you are fed, you are healthy, you are wealthy. The riches will come as you grow and develop in your own wealth. And the wealth you don't need 100,000 to start saving. You don't need 100,000 to start investing. $100 can do it.
Yeah. But you know,
a month for 12 months is 1,200.
Yep.
But you know, a lot of people like to count money, and I think it's a cultural thing where if you don't have a piece of paper in your hand, you don't have anything. So even growing up, I understood. My mom was a nurse, so at that time, government would provide things like milk powder, flour, cornmeal, beans, and that's what we used. And somehow, my house was always feeding everybody else. It was just 3 of us, but we always had somebody else to feed. And we were wealthy in that we had excellent relationships. We were healthy in that we had, the village was safe. And once the village was safe, everybody knew that they would survive. I mean, I remember we had friends and they'd come across and you'd have one big fish and the fish head cut into two. All the kids were happy. Everybody, they weren't working a lot of money, but we were all well. And that is part of wealth, being well. And the other thing is this thing about, a lot of people have this disdain about giving their kids lunch for school. The best gift you can give your child on a daily basis is to pack them a healthy lunch. An investment in your child is teaching them how to make their lunch. It doesn't have to look the same way that we ate. You can make them wraps. You can make it costs so much less. I remember when I started working, I was living in the poor man's mentality, and I said, okay, chicken back, I go run it for this month because I'm not money. So I went to the store and bought the grade A chicken back where they cut the meaty parts, right? And I went home, and I thought I was cat's pajamas. And I went home and I cut up my thing. After I cut off all of that fat, nothing left.
You fry it up,
Anyway, took a lot of work to cut up whatever. And I remember my mom calling me and she said, what you had for dinner? I said, well, I bought some chicken back to make curry chicken or whatever. And she said to me, was that really value for your money when at the end of the day you had all of that excess amount? She said, if you bought yourself a quarter of a chicken or a chicken breast and just had that is pure protein and less fat. You'll spend less time trying to clean it up. Time is money. You would have had 3 or 4 meals out of the same quarter chicken, and you would have enjoyed your meal as well. And I took that I said to myself, our parents have taught us over the years about quality. We didn't have a lot. We never had a lot of meat. We grew up in a I don't know about you, but I grew up in an era where saltfish was a thing. Everything was married to something else. Chicken was not available. That's when they started importing chicken, because we couldn't get it. So you had to learn how to use what you had. And it was not an embarrassment because we all were carrying sardine sandwiches to school.
But no, nowadays it's very different. So
It is
want
very
to take this
different, but
comment here as we think about it, So Ingrid is saying she live within our means, but what way you mean small? One way, and you're kind of talking about as well that you had small means, but you were still happy. For a lot of person, when you have small means, you feel, boy, I'm a broke, it's depressing. Me not have it. I need to make more money. And Ingrid, your answer would be, we need a side hustle. We need to talk about how to make some hustle money on the side. What can we do to bring in some more money?
But Keisha, I had to side hustle too, because while I was at university, I had other jobs. When I moved to Maypen, a lot of people would know that I was hustling because I was selling snacks to buy gas to go to work because I couldn't pay the toll.
Yeah,
it's a reality.
Ingrid, see some idea there. The doctor herself, I tell you, look here, she sells snacks while she got school. We have to get creative, Ingrid, to make some more money and hustle on the side.
I'm not just creative. I think we also need to learn to get dirty, get our hands dirty. Again, I've been in marketing. I work in corporate, proper corporate. Will remain unnamed right now, but
corporate line, yes.
I had an egg farm for at least 6 years. I had to shut that business down because everybody wanted to get paid. Nobody wanted to work. And believe me, every weekend I'm down there in the cook them with the chicken, them on my hands and knees like everybody else. And I was like, oh, you do this? It was a viable business. I was earning proper income. And it's interesting. I probably can share a quick story even out of that business. There's an individual who worked for me who excellent worker, like I was willing to increase his pay. Came to me and said, boss, I'm got a job at town. It looked better. I say, no problem, do your thing. Wish you all the best. Saw him a couple weeks after that, man and money pull over, checking on him, how things going, try have a conversation. Because again, I'm about development. So I was genuinely happy for this young man. Short version of the story, having the conversation, what he was earning in Kingston versus what I was paying him. After expenses, he literally was he was waking up at about 4 o'clock every morning, leaving Clarendon to come to Kingston to jump on a bus, don't get in until like 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. What he was getting differential was $4,800 when he take out all his expenses, lunch, etc. And I'm like, you recognize that working for me, you are literally 4 gates down from the farm. You could leave by 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You could potentially find a second job that would have then offset any additional expenses. Now, the truth is, at $4,800, what was the real difference? You lack a
say you work at town, I work in Kingston.
And that was the issue. He was happy that he was in a shirt and pants and he's no longer a farmer. He's no longer on a farm working for somebody. But until he recognizes the value of money, the value of his time, then he'll forever be in that mindset. And which is why even for Ingrid's statement, it's difficult to say, hey, you definitely need a side job, Ingrid. Because again, I don't understand what your situation is.
Maybe Ingrid have a true Ingrid, it's true. Maybe
there you go. And again, I'm not picking at you, Ingrid. I just saying, using your statement, sometimes we need to reassess our situation and also reassess our expenses in the situation, because sometimes we might have to cancel that Netflix subscription for a while. It adds up every single month. We might have to cancel that HBO subscription for a while. We might have to cancel cable, or we might have to do without any data. We might have to jump on the free Wi-Fi every now and again. There are times that we have to make changes in our own environment for our own development, because guess what? Let's say you do this for 6 months, you save some money, you have a piece of land space, just as an example, and you decide you may start by 10 layer fowl. You start sell 10 egg a day for 5 days. The value of that adds up over time. You start by 20 fowl now. But again, until we start to recognize where our skill set is. So Keisha, you alluded to it earlier. Understand where your value add is so that you can get paid for it. If you're good with hair, Ingrid, hey, go be a hairdresser every Saturday, Sunday. It
Bake.
pays.
Mhm.
We have
If you
to
can
If you
bake,
if
bake.
you're
And
if you
but
can bake, bake.
Make sandwiches and carry it to work and sell people.
sell snack, like
Sell
the doctor here, the
Snack.
money
But,
doctor me I call you
but,
know, we also the
but
thing.
But you know, Keisha, just an experience. I think it's very important to also teach children that we go through highs and lows in wealth building and
Yes,
wealth creation.
our
Yeah.
kids have
Because
to understand that.
during
Yes,
periods where you have to tighten your belt, because Jamaica went through some very hard times when, I mean, we never have light, we never have water, gas bills, right? A lot of things. 2008, when the crash came, I was studying at the time, and I remember I had made some investment choices. Money crash, never had no money. I had to now cap my
yeah,
car loan so that I could manage. I canceled, I mean, I was studying, I needed internet, I needed this, I cut cable bill, I cut this, everything was basics. Everybody knew that I was down to basics. Because even though I needed it to facilitate what I was doing, I had to just pull back for my own. I didn't want to be asked to go into somebody and say, I can't pay you today. It's embarrassing. Nobody wants to feel that way. Nobody wants to have to go through that. But sometimes we have to repivot. Sometimes we have to pivot and rethink how we do things. And that's why I talk about the support. If your village is not there, and I thank God every day that God has provided in a lot of ways where sometimes you don't even know where it's coming from, and somebody will turn up and say, I thought about it today. I bought lunch for you. Simple
no, but
things
you
like
know
that.
when it comes to kids, you raise something which is important that we have to teach our kids hardship. It's not always easy, it's not always pretty, and everything you want, you're gonna get. And so life work, it's not a wah, and you get, and our kids grow up thinking that, oh, I want this, mom, I need this, mom, yeah, dad need this, that. No, we have to get some no. We have
Yeah.
to say,
And
hey, go figure this out. Yeah, you
and
never wait.
we also need to show the sacrifice as well. It's not just
That is
about us
true.
telling them about it. Let's take the other day, COVID, because COVID is fresh for all of us. I'm sure we have some young
Yeah.
viewers online, 2008, I know a lot of people still very young at that time. But when COVID
COVID.
hit, fortunately, I had no pay cut, I had none of those situations. But believe me, I had a discussion with the household. We cut some of the luxuries because I just didn't know what was going to happen next. I have a big Aki tree in my yard. Please don't laugh after me. I'm a proud
I
Jamaican,
love
strong
Aki. I
Jamaican.
We love
love me
Aki.
some
No.
Guys,
Aki.
Eh,
until COVID hit, I never eat Aki. But my tree was bearing, and I was like, I don't know what tomorrow
The
hold.
draw feet.
This was when everybody run into wholesale and bringing. I climbed my Aki tree, I picked Aki, and best believe Aki cooked for about 3 days straight inside this house, and I ate it, enjoyed it, and nourished by it, and now I start to eat Aki. But I say that to say that we also have to lead by example. It's not just
True.
about telling them, and because we're at a position where we have certain luxuries that we never used to have, we have to lead by example and recognize that a sacrifice is a key part of the money management
It is.
process. It is, and we don't. Again, these are the things that we need to talk about more. These are the things that Keisha, great job at doing it. In terms of the money classroom, this platform will allow people to recognize that hey, there are many ways for us to grow wealth and become rich. It's not about the millions in the account. It's about being able to afford a
Yeah.
lifestyle that makes you comfortable. And every time you can level up that lifestyle the next year, the year after, but get to a point where you're comfortable and you recognize that life can be happy, guys. Life can be bingo. Ladies, give up that $30,000, $50,000 hairdo and nails every single weekend. Do it once
No,
a
so
month.
Mark, here's the thing though.
Yeah.
We don't want people to be walking around looking like bagels, right?
Hey, and
It's nice for a
I
man
am
to
by
say,
no
yeah,
means.
ladies, give up that hairdo. But then you know what? Look away when we are walking around look
No,
like
hold on.
that.
And let me say this. Let me say this as a married man and as a man that still looks on the outside because my wife knows I look, I pay attention.
Lord of mercy.
I don't. Hey, I am alive.
Well,
I
you
am
should.
alive.
Yes.
Hey,
All right, well,
guys, The reality of the
You would
situation
be dead
is
if you weren't.
exactly. There is no man that is going to bring a woman into his space if she doesn't have sense, irrespective of how she looks. The conversation is going to be superficial if you're focusing on the looks alone. And I'm by no means saying leave yourself basic and unpresentable. What I'm saying is look at some of the things and define whether or not they are really necessary. You don't need to go out and change your outfit every single day. A lot of us do it just because we took a picture in the top, we're not wearing it again.
Can't wear it
A
again.
man will talk to you next week if in the same outfit he saw you in the week before. And even on the gentleman, you don't need to be out every week with a bottle on the table. It can
Or
be
buy
every
out the
other week.
bar.
It
That's
can
the
be
thing.
once
You
a
forget
month.
the bottle
It can,
stopping coming in.
and the gentlemen are the same. You also don't need all the name brands that you're changing every day. All I'm saying is, you know your lifestyle. You know what suits you. And if you're into clothes, you're into clothes. But be reasonable and responsible with it. Ensure at the end of the day, your bills are paid. You are fed. If you have kids, please ensure that the kids are in proper schooling. Ensure that the kids are being fed
Yeah.
before all the, I'll use the word bragging to show. And again, that's part of the money management process. Recognize that you can't celebrate every day. And sometimes, even if it's your birthday, you might just have to forego a birthday. Everybody been troubling me this year. Mark, your birthday coming up next month. Where you traveling to? Because best believe that middle of October, Mark is not in Jamaica. I'm out for my birthday. I've traveled at least 4 times this year already. I'm like, guys, that's the budget for travel this year is it. My good
Yeah.
birthday, I'm going to be here this year. And it's not that I can't afford to go travel, but to what end? The school fee just raised again 50% at 150,000 this year. I have to be mindful. That's an additional $50,000 that I did not budget at the early part of the year for.
Yeah.
But
So
you know,
sacrifice.
But you know that one of the things that challenges us culturally, and I would love to talk to men and women in this situation, and I'm probably going to step on some toes, but I'm going to say it as it is. It is hard from observation and from personal experience. It is very hard for an individual who has multiple families to build wealth the way they really want to.
I don't know why you're going into that now. So
no, I have to say
I
is
saw
why
that, I saw a post about it with the hurricane. Say, it was very hard financially on some men because they must end up over this family if you ride out the storm, and when the storm one them can't be over that family, so they have to compensate them financially for the fact that them not dead it. And true. But I would tell people all the time. One thing, my father has how much kids in my body? 9.
Mine has 11.
You see,
mine has 11.
Right. I have a brother that's born 10 days before me. 10 days. 10 days before me. And what my father said, he said, look here, your father loved women. And I said, well, that is good for you. But him said, one thing I could change, if I could go back and change, I wouldn't have been so focused on women because it hurt me financially, because all of them bag of pick me is very costly. I'd have way more money if me did just lock up my pot. That's good for you. You realize waiting in I'm old age, it's late, but still, it's important. It's true. So we have to say true. But some people probably are going to sign off now because
but you take it far in terms of extra family. I know. Think about it this way: if you go out for one meal right now, what's the cost?
No, but Mark, let me just. Mark and I had this discussion about 4 weeks ago, and I said to him, I said, it is very difficult because, just picture this. Yes, Keisha, 9, 11, even if it's 4 different households, right? You as a young man, you don't start, you don't have nothing, you're trying to save. You might be educated, but you're trying to sort out yourself. Or you got divvy up. When you done, you don't have nothing because your father never left nothing for you. You are trying to build something. How you going to divvy it up and say, to each of my children, I give a block?
I don't know that's go.
Exactly. And then the children are not exposed. So as you struggle, it's not that you don't want to do better as that man who might have made mistakes, that woman who probably has multiple. And I'm not bashing you because it's real. It's what we are exposed to. But in your effort to try and build your own self and build your own wealth, it is so hard for you to explain to each child where they are in this picture. It's so hard because the best way to show is by example. My
Yeah.
mom would often tell us, this is what I have. So when the lunch money was $50 and everybody lunch costs $100 and she give you the 50 and she says, manage that for the week. She wasn't
Yep.
being mischievous, she was just being real and you had to manage
Yep.
it. But we could live within our means. So when she put on the pot of cornmeal porridge and she said, that's all, and we had a bread and the quarter, we'd had it and we went to school and nobody knew that anything was on extra at my house because I looked healthy. I did everything like everybody else. I was bright like them. I spoke well, but they didn't know that and they didn't need to know that. And I think sometimes in our means to not feel or to feel a part of, we think that everybody doesn't know what's happening in your house. There are lots of different
Nope.
houses up in
Nope.
Upper St. Andrew
Yep.
where
Yep.
they
Yep.
don't eat chicken every day. And
Yep.
where I met a mom
They may eat bread
Upper
bun.
St. Andrew, and
Mhm.
I remember the mother saying that one of the children, so the helper would cook whatever, but she would often find her little one in the kitchen with the helper because he liked when she cooked corned beef. And so corned beef became a regular thing on their table. And he would ask for his corned beef with mixed veg. And so at least twice a week, or the mackerel, and he liked it. And she just said, what are we having for dinner? And can we go? It was not an option. They went out as a family probably once every 2 weeks or once a month. And it was something that was planned and it was not anything big and extravagant. Or they made things at home together as a family, which built them as a family.
Yeah.
So I think we have to take a look at, sometimes we don't like the spaces that we live in and therefore we don't spend a lot of time in that space. So being outside is helpful for the brain. But some of the things you do together actually help you to build and to build together. So you're creating it together because we know where we come from, we know where we're going. We have our goals, we set our goals, and it helps children short term, long term. It helps them with even math. I find that money management helps them with math. I remember having an experience. I went to visit my nieces. One was in grade 3. This is in Australia. And their math teacher was teaching them. So she gave them a cutout of a sale page from a magazine. And they had to shop. So they were each given, whether it's $20 or $100, and they had to shop for their outfit for a party using the items on the page with the money that they had. So they learned division, they learned how to budget, they learned how to divide, they learned how to add and subtract. And I thought it was a very creative way of teaching.
Some we need in our education system in Jamaica. We need that. We need financial literacy so that the kids understand why some schools do it. I've seen some schools the little exercise, where they say, all right, your kid have little money, them come and buy them lunch, they learn there. But what teach them about stock bond real estate? That's not really happening.
Nope.
It happens in the wealthy circle. Best believe the wealthy kids understand how money work very, very early on.
So you can buy one stock
in the curriculum. We have to get it in the curriculum. So everybody have to learn about finance.
And even something as simple earlier with Anona when I trouble Anona to say, hey, what is compounding? It is the one thing I do with my kids. And while I don't use the word compounding is when she gets her weekly or sometimes monthly money and she'll ask for something and say, well, do you have enough money to buy it? I say, yes. Well, do you understand that you're going to have to sacrifice something else because the money is going to be done? Every time she says yes. What I also do in that instance, I said, tell you what, if you can wait until X time, I will buy it for you and you keep your money. What I'm teaching her is that, hey, if I can put down that $1,000 now for another month or 3 months, that you're getting additional on top of it.
Yeah.
Later I'll explain compounding and use the big words and show her the true principle behind it. But I'm building in her space, and this is the older one, of course, to understand that sometimes it is better for us to wait. Get the gratification later. It's not about this instant gratification. I want it now. Later may just be greater just because I waited. And these are the small things that we have to instill in the kids to recognize that it's not always about no. It's not always about, the hype life. Instagram is just that. It's Insta and it's pretty much glorified moments. I remember when I bought, well, not this one, the one before, and I pulled up to my gate. A gentleman from down the road came and asked me if he can take a picture. So I'm like, all right, sure. And he saw the puzzled look on my face. Him say, why? He said, no, I mean, this hot candy red Mazda, blah, blah, blah. I just want to post it. I'm like, people actually stop, take a picture of someone else's thing. But guess what? His friends or his viewers, whoever's looking on, don't know if it's his uncle, his mother. He posted and he may just play it off as his. And I say that to say that we need to recognize that the things that we put forward, I know now your example, living in Chergans but eating bully beef, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
We don't
So
know.
we have to be comfortable within our own space, within our own environment. Let's not worry about other things. Yeah, them look nice. You probably want to get there, but you will get there one day if you really want to get there one day. Make sure now is happy, now is important. Manage your money now so you can get to what you want and where you want to be.
That's what we want to do. We're gonna leave it there, guys. We're gonna wait at overtime, but everybody that tune in at the discussion. But this is I like when we have a real conversation, because that's what life is. Life real. Can't come here and we are play and we are talk about money and we are the theory and jargons and nobody don't understand at the end of the day. Money is real. Life is real. We have to connect the two because that's how we're going to build. But in your everyday situations, think about how can I make better financial decision? Every single decision you're going to approach, any situation, starting tomorrow, you wake up, you open your eye. Every decision you have to make, try and make sure you're making it toward your financial success. If you find that it's not gonna make you better financially, I better you don't do it. Because it gets harder and harder to claw back from. Every decision you approach, is this going to make me better financially? Yes or no? It can be a time, can be how you spend your money, can be what you're watching, can be what you're reading, it can be what you're talking about. Evaluate your situations and make sure that anything you do is about making money. So at least
and evaluate your friends as well. Evaluate your friends, because if the conversations around you aren't positive, if the conversations around you aren't about building, then you probably need to leave those conversations.
That's why the academy coming up, that's what we talk about in there. Money and how to make it, right? We're not into the careless conversations because they can't help us. At the end of the day, there's nothing free. At the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you and your finances and show you what to do and give you some free money. That's not happening. The community is what you need to start changing your mindset and putting it to that next level. I say, I know they want to say something before Rob said. Thank you.
No,
Cheese.
I agree with you.
Tonight.
Yes. No,
Yes.
I agree with you on all levels. And I just say to people, if you look back and you remember, those of us who grew with Granny, she always had a little money stashed somewhere. Where she get it from?
Emergency fund. That's
she always had that is exactly what I was going to say. They taught us some basic principles that sometimes we haven't recognized were actual money lessons. They always had an emergency fund. They always had a way of making compound interest. They always had a way of exchanging and making better what they had. So you had salt, I had sugar, I need sugar, and you need salt, we exchange. And we benefited together. We built together. You saw the two houses beside each other. Nobody now I said, Lord Jesus, no, we work the farm together, we do things, we exchange, and we build together. If you look at the communities that have come up, rural communities, everybody's building together. So the red eye and think, no, because what? We're all in the same position, and as you said, mindset, thinking alike, being in the same space with people, ensuring that other people, and I think when you start to think good about yourself, you start to think good about and want best for other people.
Yep.
And that comes with education, because the more you're educated, the more you learn, the more you want to share it. And there's no reason to grudge somebody else, because you learn also from their experiences of life.
No, but you grow together.
Exactly.
Right? It's like the Profit Jumpstart Academy. I know now I make money, Mark I make money. A lot of people, let me get a little secret. A lot of people look up to Mark in the academy because it's the Mark, always a dropping words of wisdom all the time. We get a lot, anytime Mark says something, Keisha, you know, Mark is so smart, you know, he's sharing these words. I just want to be like Mark one day, you know, he inspires me to be better, to do better. And Mark genuinely care about helping everyone in the community to succeed. I know that you genuinely care about helping the doctors around you and your community to build them up. We need to be around people like that. We need to be around some more Anonas, some more Marks who can uplift us, inspire us, empower us to do better financially, do better in our social circles. That's really where it comes from. If you're in a circle where when you tell them your dreams, they say, look here, no man, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's not gonna work. You need to come out of that circle. You have
Keisha,
to.
I tell you something. If I never had people a village that cared, I wouldn't be where I am. I really wouldn't be where I am if I never had that village. And you'll be surprised as you start to share. Once people catch the vision with you, they walk alongside with you, they run with you. And so you have to know, so that it takes a little bit of a chance. You have to bet on yourself, and you have to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to share what it is. Yes, somebody is not going to want to be interested in what it is that you are interested in, and they might not support you, but there will be people who will support you along the way. And that's what we're here to teach our kids, that guess what, you're going to have some Judases around, but you're also going to have a few Peters and Pauls and a few of those, the rest of the 12.
You're in the Bible. Thank you. Some people are like, Peter, Paul, whatever. Right? We don't want to do that. So everybody know do that. Yeah, get away.
Yeah.
But the Peter and Paul is true. Yeah, this has been great, guys. Thank you so much for being on. We could talk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I know that our viewers tonight really enjoyed the discussion and then take something away from it. So I want to give you a special thank you to you both, Dr. Anona Griffith and Mark Telfer. Thank you for being on with me inside Money Classroom tonight. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to now just wrap up and let you guys soak in all of the information, soak in all of the money nuggets, because we want it to be better financially. We want it to thrive. We don't want you to just exist every day, back and forth, back and forth. Things may be hard, yes, but they only will remain hard if you do nothing. You're getting a lot of information. You're getting a lot of knowledge. Go and implement it. If you find that, I want to be in more circles like this, come in at the Profit Jumpstart Academy. That can be a money circle, a money squad. That's what we call it. We're the money squad. We're all about the money and bringing wealth and uplifting each other as we build money. You also can join our newsletter at profitjumpstart.com/newsletter. Stay informed, stay educated, stay up to date in the world of investing. So not miss you. You always will be in touch with everything. That's what we want for you. Money upon money upon money upon money. So as always, guys, remember, knowledge is nothing without execution. Use this week to implement what you've learned in this episode, and let's make some money together. Let's do our thing. So until next week, I'm Keisha Bailey, Keisha the teacher, and I'll see you back inside Money Classroom.